Hi, everyone. This is Shalece, a compulsive eater and food addict in Phoenix, Arizona. And today we will be discussing and sharing our experiences with step 11. So Lulu, I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over to Lulu and let her share her experience.
Hi, I'm Lulu, a compulsive overeater, and we're here today to talk about step 11. Step 11 is, it's like step 10 is like, something happened. I'm feeling resentful. I'm being selfish, self-seeking, dishonest, and afraid. Let me identify it. Let me work it out because I don't want another fourth step list. Step 11 is about just kind of spot checking throughout the day. And it's about prayer and meditation. And I've been to so many meetings where people are talking about meditation as if this book is talking about sitting on a cushion and, putting your fingertips together and emptying your mind. And nowhere in this book does it tell you to do that. Back in the 30s when this book was written, this is how my sponsor presented it to me, and I get it, and I usually relay this concept to my sponsees too, because people beat themselves up for not being able to sit quiet and empty their mind. And it's like, you don't have to beat yourself up for that. If meditation is part of your religious practice, go for it. But as far as doing step 11, what Bill Wilson is telling us here is that prayer is asking and talking to God, and meditation is being quiet and listening to God. And that is what meditation is. Just to skip ahead where it says on page 87, we usually conclude the period of meditation with a prayer, blah, 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 blah. So right here, we're saying that we've just concluded a period of meditation, and everything above that sentence is about ways that we should be thinking all throughout the day, when we retire at night, when we awaken in the morning, all throughout the day, what we need to do. And these are the things that we need to be thinking about. So I need to sit and think about my day. And just that time where you're just sitting and contemplating what step 11 is asking you to consider for the day is can really shift things around for you. So for me, it was presented that it suggests prayer, asking, meditation, listening. Just a little overview of it on page 86. There's a paragraph that says, when we retire at night, there you go. There's your instructions. We'll talk more about that. The next one, upon awakening, let us think about the next 24 hours ahead. There you have it, what we need to do when we wake up. And then over on the bottom of 87, as we go through the day, this is what we do as we go through the day. So it's basically, it is prayer and meditation, but it was also shown to me, like on the middle of 87, where it says, if circumstances warrant, we ask people to join us in morning meditation. We belong to a religious denomination. If there's certain morning devotions, do it. Go do all the things in your religion. And that would be part of step 11 as well, if it's your religion and you want to include that into the simple concepts that Bill Wilson presents here on ways that we go throughout our day, how we start each day, and how we end each day. And God doesn't want us to be so holy that we aren't human. God just wants us to have an honest, genuine, really relationship with him. I'm not perfect, but in step 11, it showed me And my sponsor went through the book. She's like, we're just going to chop wood and carry water here, Lulu, just chop wood and carry water. And it's like, this is, if I'm going to survive, I need to chop wood and carry water in the way that step 11 is presented to me. And I know that if my thinking is directed if my thinking is God-centered, it's always going to help me grow spiritually. And I've learned in the prior steps that to not nourish and enlarge my spiritual life, I will likely perish in this program. It's part of it. Just the same way I stay abstinent, I need to stay fit. For anybody that isn't nauseated by me saying this yet, top of page 77, our real purpose is to fit ourselves to be of maximum service to God and those people and the people about us. That's my purpose. And that's in order for me to fit myself to be of maximum service to God, I need to consider all kinds of things that I can take throughout my day, especially as they're being developed into new habits. So then I'm more inclined to think like that rather than aspiring. So we always have aspirations, and then we're inclined to be and think certain ways, and we aspire to think certain ways, and just kind of just watch yourself, what you're inclined to do, what you catch yourself thinking and doing, and just stop it dead in its tracks. And I'll talk more about that again later, and I'll turn it over to Shalece.
Thank you so much, Lulu. So my experience with step 11 is ever evolving. And I know, I'm just thinking about, as I finished up my step work, my very thorough step work, just what kind of a relief and a release it was to come to step 10, come to step 11. It's almost like it was kind of like climbing a huge mountain and getting to the summit and just looking out all around and just being just so relieved and so grateful. But then also coming to the realization that my journey isn't over once I've completed step 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that step 10 is a continuation of those things. And I know for me, step 11, my growth spiritually has, like I say, evolved. And I know as I finished my step work, my sponsor had some books that she recommended that I read. One that was extremely powerful and helpful to me is called Conversations with God. And it was basically, it's by Neil Donald Walsh. Is that his name? Am I saying it right? Okay. Neil Donald Walsh. And it's basically this man who has some beefs with God, and he sits down and he starts just asking questions, and God starts talking to him. And so it's this whole conversation, and there are 3 books. I think I only made it through the first and second one anyway, but it was so powerful to me and really helped evolve my conception of God. And that's also, again, ever changing in this process. But I'm going to say that probably, I tried, again, different types of meditation, and I am not one that can sit still. I have a really, really hard time focusing and sitting still for any length of time. And so meditation was a challenge for me. But I'm going to say that I really leaned into, and I still do, step 10 as a meditation, that as I'm working through those resentments and those emotions and those fears and those lies, that all the turnarounds are a meditation. As I'm looking at, I tell myself this, I really have to stop and really tap into the truth. I deny this, I deny this, I deny this. And so that to me is a form of meditation, and it is part of step 11 for me. So I see that, as I'm looking for freedom and praying essentially for freedom and taking the action of writing these things down and looking for the truth, that is connecting me with my higher power. That is growing me towards God. And so it's all part of this process. And then I will also add that for me recently, it has come to my awareness that that the way that the Oxford group practiced prayer and meditation it was called two-way prayer. This was brought to my attention just a few months ago, and I've begun to practice this two-way prayer, which is sitting down and writing my prayer out. I used to be a kneeler for prayer and just be like, okay, I'm praying to God, and then I get up and I go. And it was very, very one way. And I gotta say that I actually abandoned prayer for a long time because I really struggled to even just sit and focus and pray. But this new practice that was brought to my awareness has totally changed the way that I'm daily asking questions to God, and then sitting, listening, and writing out the response. If you go back to our step 2 recordings, you'll find a recording entitled "A Letter to God," a letter from God. I can't remember what we called it, but essentially that's what my step 11 practice looks like today. Every day I am practicing sitting, asking questions, and then sitting and just sitting still, quiet for just a moment, however long it takes for words to just start to flow. And I write those words, and I'm very surprised what comes. It's very much, I think, again, this practice resonated so much with me because of the reading the book, Conversations with God, the actual thinking that, oh my gosh, my higher power would actually talk to me. Like, I'm worthy to, that I could actually hear and God would actually respond to me. And my God is a very loving, kind, and approachable God. And he does talk to me, and he does love me. And I'm very surprised oftentimes what I'm invited to do. And once I live those, or I basically follow these invitations that I'm receiving, it helps keep me out of trouble. Oh my gosh, I'm finding as I'm connecting with God, I'm turning to God all throughout the day, and I'm getting into less trouble. I'm fearing less. So this is just for me, kind of how my step 11 is evolving. And so that's my experience with step 11. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Lulu.
Hi, that was wonderful. Yeah, I mean, the two-way prayer thing couldn't really explain it any better. It's that prayer and meditation. I just looked up meditate in the dictionary. To think deeply or focus one's mind for a period of time in silence or with the aid of chanting for religious or spiritual purposes or as a method of relaxation. To think deeply or carefully about something. He went off, example in a sentence, he went off to meditate on the new idea. To plan mentally or consider. That's all the definitions of meditate. If you were a Buddhist, they're meditating, and they're meditating in a different fashion. It would be in silence, and it would be with a different purpose. And that's part of that religion. But I think what I really want to differentiate is I just see people so hard on themselves for having trouble with step 11 and meditating. It's like, no. He's not asking you to be a Buddha. That's not what this chapter is about. It's about listening to God, right? Prayer is not wishing and waiting. Prayer is wanting and working. We don't wish and wait. We want and work. And whatever your practice is to work, that chop wood, carry water thing, it's like, I just don't wish and just wait for everything to fall. I got work to do. I have work to do. This is a program of action. Um, and it tells me right here on page 86, when I retire at night, I constructively review my day. Oh, what does that look like? Oh, so you just kind of stop and constructively review your day, not critically review your day, but constructively. Was I resentful, selfish, dishonest, or afraid? Do I owe an apology? Have I kept something to myself which should be discussed with another person at once? Were we kind and loving toward all? There's so many questions here. You just answer them. And then I find what's really terrific about this retire at night, constructively reviewing your day. I do a gratitude list every day, which I highly recommend to anybody. And as I write that list, I am constructively reviewing my day. I'm finding moments of my day that were that I'm very grateful for. And as I'm thinking about that stuff, I'm telling you, other things might come up. And that's sometimes I call that kind of like a safety net. For, like, if you kind of missed a step 10, it might come up. And I have firsthand experience with that. And it was something that came up when I was constructively reviewing my day one day. And it turned out to be an amends I need to make. And I think I'm not going to tell that story here, and that would be another amends story. Okay, but it's tied into step 11, where this is my safety net. But we must be careful not to drift into worry, remorse, or morbid reflection. I'm not going to sit there with a stick at night and beat myself up on the head with it. That's not constructive review. Okay, that's destructive review. I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to be remorseful. I'm not going to have morbid reflection. I'm going to look at what the story is, like I did in step 4. I'm going to talk to somebody about it, which I did in step 5. I'm going to reconsider my character defects, which is 6 and 7. And do I owe an amends to anybody? Steps 8 and 9. It's just that's a step 10. And if and then it says, upon awakening, we think about the next 24 hours ahead. Consider your plans for the day. Now, up in retire at night, it says, it asks me, what was I thinking of what I could do for others? What could I pack into the stream of life? So if I need to consider that question at the end of the night, I might want to think about it upon awakening. I might want to consider the next 24 hours ahead. What do I plan to pack into the stream of life today? This is what's like not about me. Okay. I consider my plans. And this is where, where I consider my plans and I ask God to direct my thinking, asking it to be divorced from self-pity, dishonest, or self-seeking motives. And there is where I can kind of see, what can I pack into the stream of life today? Wonder what that would look like. It can be all kinds of things. This opportunities galore. If you, they're a little bit less with the pandemic and the restrictions of being with people, but they're always there. They're always there. And if I want to consider myself being presented with that question when I retire at night, what did I pack into the stream of life today? I'd like to have a little something to answer that with. And thinking about our day, we may face indecision. We may not be able to determine which is the right course to take. I have written here, I remember somebody said this one, the next right thing is usually something so small we might miss it because we might be focused on too far ahead. Like, it's work to like not miss it, not miss like the moment. I was just out in a lounge chair by the pool this minute, and I was thinking about my time I've spent here in Arizona. I was thinking about being home, and I just thought, like, it all was very pleasant, but then I found myself like, I want to think about right this minute, not an hour from now, not Thursday, is my flight going to be on time? It doesn't even matter. All my plans are in pencil anyway. God's got the ink. who knows if I'm going to be home on Thursday? I don't know. There's so many things that could, because life is just all detours, you know? So I just thought like, but what I do know for sure is right now I'm in this lounge chair and the sun is on my face and it feels really nice. And that is for sure in this moment. So I don't, but like I find that like the more I can stay in the moment, the more I don't miss the next right thing. Sometimes you can miss it, you know. And you know, we ask God for inspiration, an intuitive thought or a decision. That would be sitting in your two-way prayer while you're sitting there asking God for inspiration and intuitive thought. We relax and take it easy. We don't struggle. You don't sit there and struggle in that moment when you're waiting for those words to appear on the paper. And we're often surprised at how the right answers come. That's when it says we usually conclude this period of meditation. So they've just said, we've just meditated. Now this is what we're going to do. So this is where everybody needs to be gentle on themselves, because you know something, even when I was out on that lounge chair, when you were talking about not being able to sit still, I need to bring a timer. I have to set my timer when I go out there, not because I want to lie there for an hour and I don't have an hour, so I have to cut myself off at 20 minutes. No, I have to put 20 minutes because I'll get antsy in 5 minutes. No matter how much I'm enjoying it, I'm going to get antsy. And I'm just like you, I don't sit still well. And when I'm on that lounge chair, it looks like I'm so relaxed. Not. I'm waiting to move. I'm waiting to move, and I'm waiting for my alarm to go off so I know I've done 15 minutes of vitamin D soak. And it's just who I am. I think a lot of addicts are a little antsy, that restless, irritable discontent. And it just lies there, even though we're not eating over it and drinking over it and acting crazy over it. It's still an underlying chemistry of addicts, I think, you know. And then as we go through the day, we pause when agitated or doubtful, asking for the right thought or action. That's just stopping dead in our tracks, kind of like a GPS. If you've gone the wrong way, it's told you to take a right and you took a left because you kind of spaced out, and you're just like, they're like recalculating, and you're like, what? Oh, I'm going the wrong way. I got to do a U-turn and go back. And it's just a way that I believe it's for me to be redirected, you know. And then I'm not burning up energy foolishly. And it's interesting that when we talk about the next right thing to do is usually something so small we might miss it. You know, I heard it said recently that I love is, if you want to make someone else happy, show them compassion. If you want to make yourself happy, show others compassion. And I love that. It's just so simple. It's like that could be the next right thing to do. And here I am thinking, who am I going to help, and what can I do for you, and how much money can I give to you, and I'm going to donate to you, and I'm going to, you know, it's just people love just a listening ear, you know. I am not here to be loved, comforted, or understood. I am here to love, comfort, and understand. It's like anything that I think I need is pretty much will kind of tell you what people might be happy to feel from you. And I'll just end on this one last thing that somebody said once that I jotted down, because I was like, this isn't perfect. So it says, old people and children know how to live because they don't care what anyone thinks. They're either too young to know better or they're too old to care. I'm like, yeah, watch the kids, you know, there's some things they don't even know about yet, you know, and God bless them. Hopefully they don't even find out this crap that we listen to it between our ears, right? And then sometimes people are just get to an age where they're just like, what a waste of time that was, you know? And when you know better, you do better. So old people, I love watching like 95-year-old people or 100-year-old people being interviewed on a little YouTube clip. Oh, do I love them? They don't give a hoot. They don't care. They're just like, yeah, whatever, you know? And you watch children play in the playground. It's just like everything is the moment. they're making they got a best friend in 5 minutes, and then that person goes home, they have another best friend in the next 5 minutes. And look at what happens with us trying to being so fearful of relationships and what are they going to think? And, it's just, yep. Be like the kid, watch the kids, watch the old people, learn from them. And that's what I find just fascinating. It's just, you find what fascinates you in God's world. And that's what I got when I hand it over to you, Shalece.
Thank you, Lulu. So good. I love that you really pointed out the fact that this whole prayer and meditation thing is not like, meditation isn't just to just sit there and empty your mind, which we've already established for us addicts is, well, let's just call it an impossible task. We've always got this stuff running through our minds, right? And I love, I wrote this in my margin on under step 10 or step 11, just says that prayer and meditation are to understand what my actions will be today. So the whole purpose of step 11 is what are my actions going to be today? And I love that here on awakening, let us think about the 24 hours ahead. We consider our plans for the day. Before we begin, we ask God to direct our thinking. So really, like, they're just laying out the purpose. The whole purpose of the meditation is to think about today and what's ahead. And like I say, I think just it's a practice. And I've been thoroughly surprised and amazed actually at this practice for me of two-way prayer, because I will look at the clock and I will find that an hour has passed as I have been actively looking ahead for the 24 hours, and also just kind of sitting and reflecting on certain things that are happening in my life and letting God just, like, the pen just flows and he speaks to all of those things for me. It isn't just necessarily about the 24 hours ahead. God has additional things that if I will just shut up for 2 seconds, God will speak to me. And it's kind of amazing. I'll share just something that happened the other day. I caught myself being short fused with my daughters. And I immediately caught it and realized what happened and made amends quickly. And then I went to sleep and I woke up and that was kind of still just lingering there, that feeling. And so I just took that into my two-way prayer. And let's see here if I can find, I had it opened and then let's see here. Oh, yes. Okay. So this is what God said to me. I was like, I felt a bit of a short fuse last night, despite having an incredible day. How would you have me be today? And God said to me, yes, daughter, every day on this earth is a gift. Can you see that you spotted the short fuse right away and made course corrections? Can you add your awareness to the things you are grateful for from the day yesterday? I invite you to act today and continued awareness. Watch yourself. Act as though I'm with you, even in times when you're feeling your fuse is short. I'm with you, especially during those times. That awareness comes from me. It's all beautiful. So for me, I would have probably, if I hadn't been doing this practice, I probably would have beat myself up all day for the short fuse. And that didn't happen. Instead, God invited me and directed me to be grateful for the awareness of the short fuse. And that he was like, I'm right there. I'm the one that directed you to see that it was a short fuse and you took care of it right away. So can you be grateful for that instead of beating yourself up? So that was so amazing for me. And then I'll just share one more that I had worked a step 10 with my sponsor about my 15-year-old daughter that just received her driving permit. And so we worked through a lot of thoughts that it's kind of normal for a mother, a parent to be like concerned for their child and be nervous about driving with them when they're just learning. And in fact, my sister said, if you're going to teach your children to drive, you kind of have to lose your will to live. You just kind of have to forget about your will to live. You just like, oh, that's kind of funny. But anyway, even after working that step 10, just kind of that, it was still just lingering. And I didn't even ask God about this, but I just as the pen was flowing, I was just like, I know it's normal. But just as the pen was flowing, the additional thought came that God said, I have wonderful and exciting things in store for your daughter. Do not stand in the way. Do not stand in the way. She's ready to blossom and grow. Step back and watch with wonder. She is a choice daughter, as you are. I am aware of her. She is always safe in my hands. So, I mean, how can you argue with that, right? I had already unraveled the lies, the fears, seeing that it's, it's a normal, natural fear. But then God just kind of finished it off like, step out of the way, girl. Step out of the way. This girl's ready to bloom and grow. So, just again, in my margin, it just says, shut up. Just shut up. Shut up and think. Prayer is talking to God. Meditation is God talking with me. And again, like I say, I find the practice of writing down my prayer to God and writing down God talking with me as being an extremely helpful practice. And I hope that if you have any questions about this practice that I've shared, that you'll reach out to me. Because there are several other people that I know are practicing. And if you're interested in this particular practice, because I know there are many, many different ways to practice prayer and meditation that are helpful. This is just one of many that you'll reach out to me and ask. So with that, I will pass. And do we have any, Lulu, do you have any additional comments or do we have any questions?
I have additional comments. There's one other thing, a couple of other things I want to point out on page 87, where it says, when we conclude the period of meditation with a prayer that would be shown all through the day what our next step is to be, that would be given whatever we need to take care of such problems. We ask especially for freedom from self-will, and we are careful to make no requests for ourselves only. We may ask for ourselves, however, if others will be helped. We are very careful never to pray for our own selfish ends. Many of us have wasted a lot of time doing this, and it doesn't work. It just reminds me of there's the Santa Claus God and the 911 God. That's the gods that I had. Okay. So that would be like, God, I need this, and God, help me from this, and God, make this. And it was just all about me. And it's just like, be careful to not pray for your own selfish ends. And also, this is not the only time that this is mentioned in the big book. If you go to page 13 in Bill's story, to the second to the bottom paragraph, I was to sit quietly when in doubt, asking only for direction and strength to meet my problems as he would have me. Never was I to pray for myself, except as my requests bore on my usefulness to others. So he mentions that twice. And I just thought, it's hard to even imagine. Well, everything you pray for is stuff you want, and it's like, but when you stop doing that, when you stop praying for what you want, unless others will be helped. If I'm praying for my abstinence, for another abstinent day, it's all about my motive. Am I praying because I need to stay in these jeans so I'm fabulous? Or am I asking to stay abstinent because it provides me a space to come forward to be of service to God and those people about me? That's why I have to be abstinent for that. And that is where I would be praying if others would be helped. I believe that this world really benefits if I'm abstinent. And I think that anybody that's abstinent, the world benefits. Even if if it's us helping each other, and just being in a space where you're not hurting yourself anymore. You're not hurting yourself and beating yourself up with a stick. And just one more thing on prayer that I love that I have written down here. Author unknown, so I don't know who wrote it. It's about the things we ask God for and how prayers may be answered. Just very interesting to think of this. I asked for strength, and God gave me difficulties to make me strong. I asked for wisdom, and God gave me problems to solve. I asked for prosperity, and God gave me brawn and brains to work. I asked for courage, and God gave me dangers to overcome. I asked for patience, and God placed me in situations where I was forced to wait. I asked for love, and God gave me troubled people to help. I asked for favors, and God gave me opportunities. I asked for everything so I could enjoy life, and instead, He gave me life so I could enjoy everything. And I received nothing I wanted, I received everything I needed. So it's like, if I spend the morning going, God, help me to be more patient today. And then like I go to the grocery store and I'm like all twisted up because I got 3 people in front of me and I'm in the slowest line there is. And it's like, oh, now I got to grab a People magazine and entertain myself for 15 minutes while I'm waiting for this person that's new. And it's like, oh, I got to pick the wrong one, right? And it's just like, hello, what did you just ask me for this morning? I presented it for you. Be in that moment. That's an answered prayer right there. I missed it. Like when it says the next right thing is usually something so small we might miss it because we're so focused on too far ahead. I'm thinking about getting in the car and getting home and putting these groceries away. I'm already in the future instead of being in that moment. And I love, if I'm in that wrong line, I'm just like, I just look around. Well, as I'm watching people very, very frustrated and angry, and I just kind of look around and it's just people watching and just watching people smile at each other and watching people doing their best and watching people handling that pressure as a new person and having that opportunity to get up there in line and say, you're doing good, you're doing great. Everybody, you got to start at the beginning, and there's always opportunities to make people feel good and for me to practice the things. So be careful what you pray for. That's that basically, it's kind of like if I'm praying for, make me courageous so that I can climb the highest mountain and get over my fear of heights, right? Well, I might be praying for courage and God's going to give me other things to overcome that are, that I'm going to have to muster up from courage. And instead of feeling like a victim, I can see where these are opportunities for me to grow. We don't have problems, we have situations. And when I started looking at life like that, instead of everything that was happening were problems, they were just situations, a series of situations. That's what life is. I mean, if we didn't have situations, what the heck would we do with ourselves? Well, what do you do? You know what I mean? What are you doing? What's there to do if you don't have situations to manage and pray about and things, learning experiences to help to show you things? It's just like what life is. And it's like, you might not want to be so much in a rush to get over this situation because guess what's right around the corner? The next one. There's another one waiting. And it's like, I can just sit with this one, think about the next right thing, consider the next 24 hours ahead. Upon, when I retire at night, how did I do? How did I do today? And yeah, it's just, it's just a different way to go through life. It's a new design for living, which is exactly what Bill Wilson says this step process brings to you. It's a new design for living. And it starts with, it's just a remodel, it's a remodel of our lives. And, before we remodel, we got to put the fire out. You don't wait till the fire's still going and we're still trying to figure out how we're going to do the kitchen over. We got to put the fire out first, and that's where our abstinence comes in. And I put that fire out, and I was just blessed with this project of remodeling. And it's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. And it's there for everyone. Do you have anything else left to say, Shalece? You good?
Yes, I was just thinking about the conversation I had with my husband yesterday, and how in his journey, it just came to him yesterday that this roller coaster of emotion is a gift and not a curse. This was a realization that just came to him yesterday. And I'm like, yes, yay! He's getting it. It's so exciting. And we were just talking about how that's actually where the growth happens, is those ups and downs and the ins and outs of life. And I feel like step 11, well, I think all the steps are kind of moving us towards having the roller coaster be an adventure, and with our hands in the air, woo-hoo, instead of like a death grip on like this life, holy crap, here's, and sometimes it still is like that, it's like, oh no, here comes another one. But it's the point of all of the steps isn't to like turn off the roller coaster or stop it. It's to make it so it's an enjoyable ride daily. And that's, I think, especially step 11 can help make the ride enjoyable, and just today, like just really focusing on today.
I just want to say one more thing. So I've been blessed with a challenging situation the past few days. I've had a roommate in my Airbnb that I don't wish to have, and it's a fly. Okay, this fly, okay, one little fly has become my roommate. One, I'm not really wild about it, because flies in Arizona are kind of annoying. I don't know, the flies back home, they just they want to land on your food. Here, they want people. They don't want to bite me or anything. I don't know. He's just all over me every day. I feel like I have a kid that's all over me, He follows me. Here he is. He follows me in the bathroom. He follows me when I go, and I open the door so that he will freely be led to the fresh air. Well, he won't go. He won't go. And last night we had a conversation. I just said, I kind of think I might have to kill you. I was just kind of thinking, like, it's been a few days. I've given you every opportunity to leave, and you're really bugging me. But now this is the same woman that was out at the hot tub a couple of days ago, and I saw some kind of a hornet, it had yellow and black. I don't know if it was a hornet, but he was floating around in the hot tub going with his little legs going. And I was like, I think I'm going to save your life. And so I just picked up a swoop and swooped him up. And I watched him so closely for like 15 minutes. First, he was walking around in circles because he was probably all waterlogged and he couldn't walk a straight line. He was probably like drunk. And he's going around and around. And then within 5 minutes, he started walking straight. And he kept flapping his wings, and they weren't dry enough. He wasn't going anywhere. But I was watching him revive himself. And it just felt like it's just maybe what I packed into the stream of life today. It was a life, But now I got this roommate, and I'm just like, I don't know. You're not like paying the bills here, I'm kind of thinking you have to die. And it's just not working out. I'm just not, I don't have it in me, but I just really would like him to go. And it's just like, I think that I have a feeling when I go home on Friday, I'm going to unzip my suitcase and this fly is going to come out, and I'm going to just laugh. I'm going to laugh. But it's just, it's situations. We're all okay. Everything's fine. And yeah.
I thought you were going to say something about your really rowdy neighbors that you got to just get rid of.
Yeah, he is rowdy. He's rowdy. He's just a pain in the butt. He's everywhere I am. Thought I was going to complain about you.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I know this is going to be stored on the website, and maybe 3 years from now, we'll just always remember this was the time. Making these last 4 recordings was when I was here right next door to you, and normally we're 4,000 miles. How many miles apart are we? Like
I don't know.
4,000?
Lots of miles. Let's see here.
Probably like 4,000 miles apart.
Yeah.
So we don't really see each other. We know each other online, which is a lot of us here in this community. We've been blessed with online relationships that are pretty strong, you know?
Yep. 2,613
miles.
Nope. I just was dyslexic. 2,316.
It's a lot of miles. We won't
A lot of miles.
We won't be bopping in on each other after Thursday.
Yeah.
But, if you'd like my fly, I can send him next door if you'd like him
That
for
is
the rest.
so generous. That is so generous. I think I'll pass, but thank you.
He's right on my computer now.
I love it.
He follows me around. It's just like, go. There's nothing to eat here.
There's
It's all
nothing to
abstinent
see here.
food. But
Oh, so funny.
yeah.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us today on this journey of step 11. As always, reach out if you have any questions, and join us again next week. We will be talking about step 12.
Yay.
Great. Thank you.